What is up, you crazy fools? Welcome back to the YBO podcast as we continue our ongoing series all about working in the outdoor industry. This week we are joined by the one and only Mr. Kendal McGuire. Both Kendal and Keaton spent time down in South Texas working at the Lonesome Coyote Ranch for their internships. So this week Kendal is going to share a little bit about his experience of getting to work there. He is also a licensed real estate agent here in Kansas and focuses heavily on land sales. So he'll give us some insight into that corner of the outdoor industry. We hope you all enjoy. You comfortable?
Getting ready, getting set. Let's go.
All right. Here, let's pull our thoughts together.
Take a deep breath. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Yes.
That's gone. Good injury came in. Let's go.
Nice. I feel like a new man, really.
All right, let's get down to business, Austin. Let's get to it.
All right. Well, Mr. Kendal, today we got Mr. Kendal McGuire.
Hello.
What's up?
I'm saying hello to everybody.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yes, nice having you back on the podcast. This week we are continuing our whole series on outdoor careers and the outdoor industry as a whole. And you've had some experience with that. So
that is correct.
Yeah. So we figured we'd talk with you. I guess before we get into the jobs you've done or the experience you've had, let's maybe kind of start with your education. So kind of describe the degree you went to school for and the value of that degree and what people can take that degree and go do with it, kind of thing. So,
okay. So I graduated from Kansas State University with a degree in wildlife and outdoor enterprise management with, I'll just add this into minors in business and biology. So to focus on the major of wildlife and outdoor enterprise management, that major consists of everything from soils to range management to wetland management to upland game bird management. It's really a wide range of different topics regarding the outdoor industry. And so I guess to answer your question, what that entails with that major, I mean, you can get a job that deals with land management. I mean, in my major, some of the labs that we've done, we learned how to create food plots. We learned how to different types of land management skills, such as feathering, half cutting, different types of stuff like that. And so you can be a game warden to somebody who is a land manager for a company. So there's a wide range of different jobs that entails.
Yeah. And what I couldn't remember if you had said it, maybe Keaton said it, or what aren't some of the jobs related, because you said outdoor, there was the enterprise side or the tourism side, right? Can't you do stuff that is related to tourism straight up, like guiding and running?
Exactly. Yeah.
All that stuff too, right?
You could run an outfitting business. So you can be like a guide. With the wildlife and outdoor enterprise management, you get the minor in business. So you actually learn how to do the business side of being an outfitter. And so you know about lodging, because in that you're taking hospitality classes. So you learn about lodging, you learn about hospitality, what all that entails. And to put it into a small scheme of things, you're able to run an outfitter after taking this degree, because you've learned all the nicks and crannies of what it entails.
Gotcha. Cool. And so I guess, with the degree, that kind of somewhat can piggyback to one of your big experience points that you've had so far was your internship for school. So do you want to just jump right on in that?
Yeah. So with this degree at K-State, you have to have an internship, minimum of, I believe, 3 months. And so I've got to look in to figure out what I want my internship to be in, and ended up finding one in South Texas. And so it was for a company called Lonesome Coyote Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Down in South Texas, and it was a high fence ranch that sold whitetail deer hunts. They also did some upland game bird hunts, and when I was there, they haven't done exotic hunts, but they were in the process of increasing the population with their exotics. So they never had any exotic hunts, but I believe now they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I can jump into it real quick. What my internship involved and what I did. So, like I said, it was a high fence whitetail ranch. So we actually raised whitetail deer. And so during the summer, the does would give birth, which would create fawns, small deer. And we would actually take those deer out of those pens and give them their vaccinations that they need, tattoo them so we can identify them in case their tag falls off. So with tattooing, we tag their ears. And yeah, we gave them vaccinations and all that and put them back in the pen with their mom. So that was pretty fun. I also did some land management stuff, such as removing trees from fence rows, trimming back trees. We sprayed mesquite trees with herbicide. For you guys that don't know, mesquite trees is it's a thorny tree, I guess, bush. I don't know. It's not fun.
They're very small trees.
Yes.
They don't get big at all, but dude, they suck. Yeah.
Everything in Texas is there to hurt you. I mean, all the plants have thorns on them. So you're cutting trees down, getting poked. It's not very fun.
Oh man.
Anyways, like I said, they also did some upland game bird hunts. So with them, they raised their own bobwhite quail. So I'd go in there because during the summer, that's when they start hatching and start laying eggs. So they have a pen, and I'd go in there, take the laid eggs from that pen, and we'd take them to our incubator house, I guess you'd say. Put them in the incubators. After the incubator, you put them in the brooder. They'd hatch, and then you put them in. I can't think of the other name, what it's called, but we raise quail. And so we raised them from when they're an egg to when they're a full-grown quail. But yeah, we'd run snare lines, and so along the fence row, we'd set snares. That's for predator management, such as catching coyotes and bobcats. Every now and then we'd catch hogs too, because hogs are rampant down in Texas.
Yeah.
They create a lot of damage, and so the more we get out, the better the land's going to be. Which it's hard. It's a hard thing to do down in Texas because there's so many.
Oh yeah,
reduce like crazy.
I think the one advantage of South Texas, where that ranch is that the ground's so much harder. So compared to some parts of the state, they can't root as bad. I've noticed.
Do have some wallows down in South Texas, but like you said, it's probably a lot worse up north.
Oh yeah, like I've been like Liz's ranch, my girlfriend, for people listening. Um, I think they have a few areas that are pretty gnarly, but for the most part, sometimes you can't tell. Like the ground seems untouched, besides a few track marks every now and then.
Yeah.
But then when I went up to like East Texas and did the hunting up there, dude, it didn't take me long to go, whoa, this is different up here because the ground's so much softer. So you can see how
Yeah.
the pigs are able to just rip through it like it was nothing. So, I mean,
That
you're
makes
taking the caliche and the clay type ground versus just soft soil. So,
sense.
yeah.
But other than that, I guess I have a journal here with me. Because during the internship, I actually had to write down what I did every day, which looking back to it now, it's pretty neat just to see, go back to my memories of what I
Mm-hmm.
did with this ranch. So I'll just give you an example of one day what we did. Let's see, May 30th. Let's just go there. We did a lot of tree trimming. Okay. So, I mean, I'd say 60% of the time we were cutting down trees and
Oof.
doing, this is in 90, 100-degree weather, which
Yeah.
sucked, but I got used to it. So, for example, this day, that morning we began trimming up trees um, on one of the branches. And then after that, went to the quail barn to uh, grind up their feed. And so I'd be in charge of feeding each, uh, I guess, brooder,
Mhm.
um, put the feed in it so that the quail can eat. Um, and then let's see. So on that day, I wrote what I wrote was we were grinding the feed to be prepared for the next couple weeks because we had 2,000 eggs ready to be hatched.
Mhm.
So we're trying to we had to get enough feed ready for all these 2,000 hatchlings.
Yeah.
Um,
2,000 little birdies is a lot of mouths to feed.
yeah, and then at the end of the day, I had to go to the deer pens to fix the water troughs because they're leaking. I mean,
Hmm.
that's just an example of one of the days that what I had to do for one of those days down there.
Yeah. And so typically with a job like that, what are the hours kind of run?
So we try to start early as possible
Hmm.
before it's too hot. I mean, we were there at sunrise.
Hmm.
Uh, we actually so we stayed. So there, I guess at this place there's let's see, there are I believe there's three ranches.
Hmm.
We had the 624 ranch, uh, Lonesome Coyote Ranch, and then four ranches: the Chimenea Ranch, and then the Dos Rios Ranch. And so we all meet at Dos Rios Ranch in the morning. That's our headquarters, I guess you
Hmm.
could. We meet up there, and then that's where the assistant ranch manager and the ranch foreman would be, and we'd go over what we need to do for that day. And so we'd get there right at sunrise and go over what we needed to get done for that day. And then typically we'd probably finish up around 3 o'clock in the
Hmm.
afternoon. Some days it'd be five, depending on what we had to get done for that day. But typically we'd be done by 3.
Okay. So sunrise to 3 for the most part. And then I know I got to go hang out with you guys a few times, and then it would be about sunset or right after sunset that like you guys would have to go to the deer pens to check for fawns.
Yeah, yeah. So we'd know. So the ranch foreman, one of his key job or one of the stuff he had to do for his job was before we met up at the headquarters, he'd go in the deer pens, drive around, see if there's any new fawns.
Hmm.
So if there were, the interns like me would have to go in at sunset to the deer pens to grab that fawn that was born that day and give its vaccinations, tattoo, and tags. One of the main reasons why we did that at night is because they're less stressed. They can't really see us very well. And so during the day, they'd be more stressed. They'd be trying to run, and if they run, they'd run on the fence and potentially get hurt. And so that's why we'd go at night.
Yeah, and I one thing that I can definitely attest to is those little fawns, man. When you had to vaccinate them and tag them and all that crap, oh, the worst cry I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, some would stay calm, some would bawl their eyes out, but
oh man. Well, there was like the one time I was there, and you're like, "Do you wanna hold it while we do all that stuff?" I was like, "Shoot, yeah, dude, I want to hold a baby deer," and I'm holding it, and then you guys start poking it with vaccines, and you're like giving it its damn tags and everything, and it's just going, and I was like, "Guys, hurry! This is so sad."
yeah, it's definitely something you gotta get used to. But
yeah, well, I remember you guys were all like,
they were happy because we gave them back to her mom. So
yeah. Well, I remember you guys when I was like, "Oh my God, this is so sad." You guys were like, "Oh, I've heard it like 1,000 times at this point."
yeah, that's true.
Didn't I wouldn't say this was probably one of your job duties, but you kind of got free reign and to some extent encouraged, I would think. But you were mentioning trapping of like coyotes and bobcats, but weren't you to a degree kind of like encouraged go hunt hogs as much as you can kind of thing, or set those kind of traps?
We could hunt hogs any time of day. I mean, if we saw a hog during work, I mean, we can shoot it. I mean, they just run so rampant that. So, back up a little bit. They sell hunts for hogs. I mean, they're making money off hogs, but there's so many down there that by me shooting a few each week, it's not going to cause a big deal at all. But yeah, like after we get off work, sometimes we'd go up in a stand and sit there the afternoon and try to see if we can get some hogs that night. But yeah, I mean, that was well worth the work. I mean, it was a paid vacation. How I take it.
Yeah. What do you think your biggest hog was while you were out there that you got?
Biggest hog was actually trapped, and I actually was able to shoot it. But that sucker was probably, if I was putting in pounds, it'd be pushing 200 pounds.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean, that's a fairly decent hog.
Yeah, it's decent for sure. I mean,
there's bigger ones out there, but I mean that we ended up eating it. We made some sausage out of it, and it was phenomenal.
Probably, was that was the one I got to try, right? Like that was when you guys.
That's the first one we actually got during that internship. That was the first pig that we ended up processing during the internship. So that was what you had.
Yeah, which dude, they had an epic like little processing, I guess, unit on those. And so, I mean, that one inspired me. Like, if I ever have a ranch, I would love to make my own little processing shop or whatever.
They had everything you need. I mean, that's where we called the headquarters. And so they had that processing room. They had walk-in coolers, everything you need.
Yeah. And then they had the friggin' epic lodge for people who actually came out there.
Yeah, the lodge included probably 8 different rooms. We had taxidermy everywhere. You had an in-ground pool outside. You had a game room. I mean, we could go there anytime we want, which was awesome. I mean, we probably swam in that pool probably once a week. And then in Texas, you have a lot of scorpions, and so scorpions are attracted to water. And so at the bottom of the pool, you're going to be finding a lot of scorpions. That's the only downer about that. But hey, we weren't walking on the bottom of the pool, so we weren't getting
yeah, no, I mean, that's the biggest thing I think about this, that you, unfortunately, with your internship, it was a summer one, so you weren't there during the actual hunting season, which
that would be probably 10 times better because I could be a potential guide. And that's why I like I guess, about hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The side of hunting is because you get to create those memories with your clients and see their smile on their face when they successfully harvest an animal.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been awesome if I was there during hunting season. But
That would have been the freaking cherry on top right there.
yeah,
But I mean, I like that to some degree. I kind of like that you were there during the summer because with recording this little series, I'm essentially getting to talk with somebody who got to be on the ground for a big ass hunting outfitter, but they
yeah,
weren't doing the guiding part. They were having to do the
it's like
down and dirty chores. The what's up?
it's like the background of what's actually going on. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you get to see the you can see what's all involved in creating these massive deer and these successful hunts. I mean, we have to make sure all the protein the feeders are filled with protein. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the deer are so massive, because they're eating a ton of protein and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for example, like when I was talking to Jimmy recently, he was basically getting to give us this is what being a hunting guide takes, not the land management or the work that goes into ensuring that the season is successful. But he was able to give us like that aspect. And I even mentioned to him, like, hopefully we'll be able to bring him back on. Maybe leading into next season. Hopefully that'd be pretty cool to get him on here so that he can maybe say, yeah, this is some of the stuff we did in the off season and this is what we're doing to gear up for it. So that'd be cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a cool add-on that I'm hoping we'll be able to do here in the near future. But yeah, man, it's like for a lot of people who think, oh, dude, that'd be so epic to run or own or work on a hunting outfitter. It's grueling work.
There's a lot of work that goes into it that a lot of people don't really understand.
Yeah. So no, that's cool though, man. Like I know some people would probably go and do that job and they'd be like, bro, this sucks. It's so hard. It's hot. Oh, I can't do it. But yeah, I know for somebody like you, that just goes right up into your niche. So yeah, I like how you put it. It was a paid vacation.
I was never working, man. I was having fun.
Yeah. Well, except maybe getting poked by them mesquite trees.
Yeah, that's true. I had a couple lodged in me that I had to push out, but hey,
oh God.
that's part of the job and I was happy for it. So
Yeah. No, dude. Speaking of like the getting poked by those, I remember the one thing, and this was not the mesquite trees, but it just made me think of it. But like the couple times I went there was one time specifically I was looking at some of the deer we were looking at, and I was like, dude, there's so many like needles or thorns in them. Or sometimes you drive by them and they'd sprint off and run right through a friggin' cactus bush. And I'm like, oh my God, how do they do that? And you're like, dude, every one of them's covered out here. I'm like, oh.
they are very tough. They're very tough animals. I mean, you've heard stories of deer getting shot and still living. You find them next year and they're still wandering around. I mean,
dude.
They are tough animals.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the this made me think of that. I mean, I guess it's kind of ironic because it's not so much living, but one of the mounts that you guys had up in the lodge out there of the two deer that were fighting.
Yeah.
And wasn't it like either both of them or one of them had like an antler like lodged in their head or something? I thought there was one that I looked at and it was like the antler was actually lodged in the head or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, that was a terrible way to go.
But a backstory, like the backstory for that mount, those two deer were actually locked up and ended up dying. And then the owner of the ranch ended up getting those two mounted exactly locked up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So is that there's something I saw one time of like a deer that had like a different deer's antler like lodged up in its face or something. And I'm just like,
it very could be. I mean, they're mean animals. I mean, once rut starts, they have one thing in their mind and they want to make sure nothing gets to that. And so if that means attacking another deer, that's what it means. So
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But All right. Well, um, going from kind of, I guess, a land management side to, I want to shift gears a little bit. But you're also a licensed real estate agent.
That's correct.
And do you want to kind of describe how you got into that and like the company you were with, and then kind of venture into, the outdoor side of what you got to do, I guess?
So I've always wanted to work in the outdoor industry. I mean, I worked at a high fence ranch. I want to see what else I can do, and so Mossy Oak. A lot of people know that brand. Well, they have a real estate side, Mossy Oak Properties, and I went on their website, and I was like, this could be interesting. And so I kind of sent in my information, and an office here in my town I'm living in, Manhattan, Kansas. Uh, they gave me a call because they had an office here, and ended up joining them. And they mainly focused on land sales, and so that's something I kind of was interested in because it dealt with the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pursued that and was able to list a few properties. For example, a 10-acre vacant land is what it was considered, but it was 10 acres. It was half crop ground, half timber, and ended up getting that sold. But another one was, I don't know, 142 acres of crop ground. But with that, I guess with land sales, in my opinion, I think that's probably the most fun I have with selling real estate, because you have people interested in purchasing hunting ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to tell that individual what I believe has the pros and cons of that land. Like, this is very suitable for whitetail deer, or this is very suitable for bobwhite quail. Just depending on how the property, I guess, what it entails and what it has on it. And so that's what I find most interesting about, I guess, the land side of selling real estate, because you're in contact with individuals who have the same passions as you, as hunting and fishing, and it's really rewarding, in my opinion, to sell somebody a piece of land that they get to cherish and build a lot of memories off of with their kids or grandkids. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
My spiel.
Yeah. No, that'd be pretty epic. But what would you say is one of the toughest things about that job?
As a real estate agent, or like a real estate agent in general?
I mean, yeah, let's do that. Like, toughest as a real estate agent, but also toughest of trying to sell land.
Okay. So everybody's going to have their own opinion on everything. So a property worth X amount of dollars is actually what it's worth, X amount of dollars. Well, somebody's going to be like, oh no, that's worth $50,000 less. And trying to convince them that, no, this is actually what it's worth. That can be frustrating. It's kind of hard to change somebody's mind. And I've got to really realize that. But with, I guess, the hunting side of land real estate, what's hard about that is trying to find somebody who appreciates it as much as the seller does. Because some people will see a piece of ground that they haven't seen what it actually produces, like the deer or birds or whatnot. Maybe they think it's, oh, that's just a crappy land, or that's a crappy piece of property. Well, in reality, that produces 180-inch deer or a ton of waterfowl in that little tiny pond that they don't really realize. So that's probably one of the frustrating things. But
Yeah, and I mean, I guess an example we've both been pretty witness to. Won't say names or really be too specific, but certain people that buy certain land that is some of the most pristine you've ever seen and want to get their
oh
money
yeah,
back.
I'll kind of explain on that, but not say any names.
Yeah, let's.
A property that is amazing for whitetail deer.
And I mean, just scenic as all hell too. Like,
Some individuals will just put dollar signs in your head and like, oh, I can make money off that. I can make money off that. I can make money off that. Let's remove this. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. And in the end, it deplenishes the habitat for that animal that has sustained very well on that property. So that's a downer. I mean, you can't tell anybody what to do, obviously, which sucks, but sometimes people need to listen I guess some people need to listen to what I guess educated individuals have to say.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that whole story in and of itself, there's a lot more I think both of us would love to say or wish we could change.
There's a
But
lot of things that I'd love to change and do,
yeah.
but you can't change somebody's mind if they're hard headed. So
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest lesson of it is especially with a career such as real estate that I'm sure you've had experience plenty of times is just dealing with people are stubborn. Unfortunately, I mean, stubborn could be a good thing, but it can also be a real pain in the ass. So,
right.
but well, to veer off a little bit. So, with both of those experiences now under your belt,
Yeah.
are you wanting to pursue something like either of those in the future, or do you want to pursue something else that is still in the outdoor industry, or do you just want to kind of completely veer off for a while? Or
So I really have gotten to enjoy um, the real estate side of land sales, and I'd like to pursue that here in the future. And on top of that, with land sales, I would like to add a amenity. I'd like to add another I guess amenity to that as land management. And so let's say somebody wants to buy a property, um, I would like to be able to write up a plan on how to improve it for the specific uh, wildlife that they desire, like to hunt or to see out there or whatnot. I like to implement that in making that land better for their desires. So that's what I'm seeing in the future is land management as well as land sales. But
so,
I my ultimate goal once I have bucos and money is have a lodge on multi-hundred acre piece of property that I guide hunts on and share the memories with these clients and enjoy the outdoors with them.
that'd be pretty sweet. Well, like your land management sales thing, that quite literally sounds the best of both worlds of what you've experienced thus far, essentially. Like take the best of both of those spots or jobs and just mesh them together.
I have experience in both of those, and I feel very confident in my abilities to perform in such matter that if I can make the best for an individual who's looking for a piece of property, that I can help them buy and then help them manage and create what they ultimately desire.
Yeah. And I love that. I know I know there are a lot of real estate agents that are out there that are good. They want to go and they don't always care just about making their money or making a living, but they want to go and ensure that they help people find a home or find the right thing for them. But there are also plenty of people out there that they show up and they say all the right things just to get you to buy that one thing. And then the second you buy it, all right, good doing business. I'm gone.
See, that's one thing I veer away. I mean, I like to focus on truth and honesty. And so making that individual happy and making the process of buying a property or selling a property the easiest thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal. And then, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, very cool. Well, I will say I think my final question for you tonight is going to be for somebody who is interested in that similar career path that you've gone down or either one of them, like land management or the real estate side. What would you say is some of your biggest pieces of advice or biggest things you've learned yourself that would have either made things easier for you to get where you are, or maybe could have helped you get farther than where you are? So, something that helps the next group coming along.
So if you have a passion for something such as the outdoor industries, and you want to do business with that, pursue it. Don't let anything hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
Go after it, because if you don't, you're going to look back on that time and regret it. Life's too short to pass something up that you truly desire and want to do. Get the experience. If you want to be a top dog in an outdoor industry, you need to get experience immediately. Personally, me, I wish I jumped into that as soon as possible, which I actually waited my junior year of college. And so if you really, truly desire to work in the outdoor industry and have that passion, go for it. I mean, the only regret you're going to have is wishing you did something else. And then wishing you did something else, you finally understand to yourself that, hey, this isn't for me. Maybe XYZ is what I need to do. And so taking that chance and taking that leap is the best thing you could ever do, because you're not going to understand, I guess, what you really want to do until you do that.
Very cool.
That makes any sense to you? So.
Oh, it made perfect sense. I like it. I've noticed for myself too, man. Experience is nowadays everybody has a degree. Everybody, knows this, knows that. But like I know from my own personal experience how many jobs I've applied to, where at times they will say, "Well, we'll take degree or equivalent experience." Like to a certain extent, at a certain point, people are now getting to where they're like, your degree is becoming more of a piece of paper that doesn't hold as much weight. If you know what you're doing better than you have just that piece of paper, then we'll take you, so.
I think the biggest thing is experience and knowing the right people.
Yeah.
Other than having a degree in whatever. Because with that experience and knowing the right people, that can get you a long way. A degree, you learn stuff through classes, but you don't have that hands-on experience that companies are looking for. Which I'm not talking down on degrees. I mean, you learn a lot, and I'm glad I have the degree that I'm in. I really am. I've learned a lot about it, but having that experience is another level.
Yeah. Well, right on, man. Is there anything else before we sign off on this one that you'd like to share, or tell people, or?
I guess if you guys out there listening have any questions regarding the outdoor industry, I'm here to help you. Just shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I'd be happy to get to you and help you through the way of if you're looking to get in the outdoor industry, I'd be happy to help you through it. So
Coolio. All right. Well, Kendal, thank you for hopping on here and telling us a little bit about what you have gotten to do, and hopefully you are able to continue and eventually get to that point of getting to do your guided hunts. Because so far you're a decent guide. You got me my first deer and a few other successful trips. So I'll already give you
I
good
got
on
you
Yelp.
deer. Got you some dove,
Yep. Dove, deer, duck,
pig.
pig. Yeah, dude, you're like most of my checklist of what I've gotten to do is because of you.
And it's not hoping, it's doing. It's
Oof.
gonna happen.
Oof. Turned out to be
about it, man. It's gonna happen. Stay tuned. Young Bucks Outdoors is gonna be a big deal. We're gonna run a guiding outfitter and everything you guys desire. So let's get after it and let's have fun.
Shoot, I'd be okay with that, but all right, Kendal. Well, thanks for hopping on here. We'll talk to you on the next one. All right.
All right, catch you later, buddy.
All right. See ya.